You are listening to
Marty and The Bro.
Did you see the movie The Help?
No, I can't do slavery, old nanny. You know what I'm saying? I can't do I can't do those movies anymore. The older I get, the harder it is. When I was younger, I think I was done after Amistad. To be honest with you, I couldn't do anymore.
Amistad.
Have you never
What's
seen
that?
Amistad? Oh man, it's a Disney movie too. Give us free.
I
It's a
did.
slave
That's
movie.
too long
So
ago or something.
Amistad was a slave ship. Was a ship in the North Atlantic slave trade, and the movie's about the people from that ship, or a specific guy from that ship who's trying to get free, and that's where that saying "Give us free."
Okay.
That's something in the black community, I guess we know about.
Okay.
I
So 12 years a slave, you obviously did not see.
hell man,
How
who wants
about
to see?
Django Unchained?
Django was dope. It was hard to watch too, though, but it was kind of hard for me too, though. I don't know. All that shit's hard, bro. All that shit's hard. Just seeing white people be white people, it really grinds my gears.
Yeah. Well, The Help certainly would have ground you down to nub, because that's all that was. Yeah.
What is it about?
The Help is it went back to a time probably around when I grew up, back in the 60s, I'm guessing. I think the setting of it was in the 60s. And what was notable about it for me, and it's not something that I think about very often or actively thinking about, but as you know, I've been, paying attention to my mental health the past few months, especially, and that's taken me into a lot of memories.
Yeah.
Really early memories.
Okay.
And did you know that me, Gary Breaux, had a black nanny when I was an infant? I was one of those.
Wait. You had a nanny?
I had a nanny.
Oh my God.
A black nanny.
Oh man. Oh, Gary had slaves. Oh man.
Well, think about the times. Think about the times though. This was mid 60s. I was born right about 65 or so.
Okay.
Mid 60s. This is the civil rights movement is underway. Martin Luther King is in the news all the time. Malcolm X. We've got just a lot of attention being brought to the civil rights movement, and my parents were a product of their time, and we lived in the suburbs of Houston.
So like more so affluent, you would say, because like a nanny nowadays, if you have a nanny, you're goddamn making some money.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
At that time, in those days, no, it was much more that your average family could have a nanny.
Oh, because of course, black people, right?
Well, because and my dad didn't work. I mean, no, I'm sorry, my mother didn't work. My dad worked, but you only needed one.
The hell you need a nanny for? What y'all need a nanny for? See what I'm saying? Well, y'all just look, y'all just wanted some nigga in the house to do some shit. That's what y'all.
Well, that's a different story. Is why we had a nanny. And that actually relates to another episode that we're going to do. And also even season 2 is going to talk a lot more about what that means. But I just think it's interesting that I am one of those little white kids from The Help, essentially. That movie.
Wow. Okay, now I gotta watch it now. Since we talk about a movie about your childhood. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is that?
So, but isn't it? And then the other thing about the story that I think is kind of interesting is I went on a trip with my mom to Chicago because my aunt lived in Chicago and we were in Houston, and so we went up to Chicago on a train. That's what you did back in that would have probably been around 70 or something like that. 1970.
Okay.
And it was much cheaper to take a train than to fly back in those days. Southwest Airlines came on later on and knocked out the price.
So you were before Southwest Airlines?
I was before Southwest Airlines.
That's light flex.
They were
light flex. I hear you. No, man. No, you were here. Say you day one. They new to the scene. I feel you. Yeah.
So we were on the train. So I'm on the train with my mom. We're traveling to Chicago to visit my aunts, like Christmas time or something. And I was a little kid.
Mhm.
I don't know. At that time, I was like 5 or 6 years old, maybe walking up and down the aisle. We saw my nanny, Myrtle. Her name was Myrtle.
Wait, on the
Myrtle
train?
on the train. So Myrtle was there with her family.
Her name's Myrtle. Shout out Myrtle. Yeah.
Shout out to Myrtle. That's right. I'm sure Myrtle has passed away now.
Oh damn.
But
R.I.P. Myrtle. Then that's the new.
yeah. So when my mom, she was like, "Hey, Gary, I think that's Myrtle over there. You remember Myrtle or something?" And I was like, "I remembered Myrtle." I mean, I was,
You're like
you
17 at
know,
this point.
no, I was when I had when Myrtle was our nanny. I was probably 1, 2, 3 years old.
Oh, okay.
But now I'm 6 years old. But I still
Mm.
remember
Yeah.
Myrtle fondly. Anyway, so we saw Myrtle on the train in the seats with her family, and I
Oh.
kind of got a little bit excited about
Yeah.
Myrtle. But I remember Myrtle's reaction was kind of like I didn't. She didn't come back at me with uh, a lot of
Reciprocated love, like excitement.
reciprocated love. Yeah,
Yeah.
she was more like because then and now as I look back on it, of course, from her standpoint,
Mm.
being the nanny for this white family when she probably had to travel, I don't know how far from wherever she
Mm.
lived to my house on Creekwood to take
Mhm.
care of these me and my brother, these two little white kids. She
Mhm.
probably had no
House
reason to
probably
feel
smelled
much.
like dog food. Yeah, man.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, we had dogs. We definitely had dogs.
See? Mm.
Yeah. But
Mm-mm.
it was just funny that and even my mom, she probably didn't get it either. She was probably expecting Myrtle to light up a little bit. "Oh, hi, Gary. Yeah, da,
Yeah.
da." But no, that's not what happened. She was like, yeah, what do you want me to do about it? I'm off the clock, lady."
Exactly. Yeah. I don't even know y'all no more. Yeah. No, I feel that.
No, no.
That's
But I wonder,
interesting.
yeah, I didn't know if you knew that I had a black nanny when I
Yeah.
was a little
Knowing you
baby.
knowing you for a while now, it's kind of interesting why you didn't tell me about that. Why don't you explain yourself there?
Yeah. Well, we are going to get into we're going to do episode 5 today. And
All
episode
right.
5 is are we special? And I don't like to think of myself and my willingness to talk about racial issues with somebody like you. I don't
Mhm.
want to view myself as special,
Mhm. I would
but
agree. I would agree. I think it's very
am I
dangerous.
special?
But are you special? Oh,
Yeah.
that's a good that's a good question. That's a good question. All right.
Yeah. And
Well,
so I thought, I kind of wanted to get your thoughts a little bit about kind of tell you a little bit more about my upbringing in this regard and what are the things that shaped my views. And one we had talked about in a past episode that my parents were they did not espouse racist views. I think that they were watching television and they were seeing the images on TV that swayed an awful lot of people, white, black, and everybody. It shocked the nation, like in '68 when just all the riots and
yeah.
everything that was going on, MLK being
Mm.
killed, Malcolm X being killed, Robert Kennedy, John Kennedy. It was that back during that very tumultuous time in America, right?
Yeah.
And the images that were shown on television, my parents watching them, me even watching them, maybe as a 3, 4 year old, seeing this stuff, I think that that had an impact on me and probably on a generation of people. Because one of the things that you see when you're a kid, you have a very strong sense of fairness, just a
Mm.
natural, innate sense of fairness. And for me, what makes racism so wrong or white supremacy so wrong? First of all, it's not logical, and that's where I think my dad came from. It's like it doesn't make any sense that one race is superior than the other. It doesn't add up. But then also there's that sense of unfairness, which is just easy for anybody to get a feeling of, especially when you're a kid, because that's play fair and
Yeah.
fairness is a big thing. And when
Yeah.
you see images on television of white people beating up black people, you're like, wait a minute,
Yeah.
that can't be right. Is there something, even if you're too young to process all this, you're still sort of developing that. So and and there's something else that I thought about recently. One of the shows that we used to watch when we were kids was All in the Family. Are you familiar with that show?
Yeah. I've one of those. I think I've seen a few episodes. I barely remember All in the Family.
Okay. Well, for me as a kid, this was one of those shows that I watched with my parents. My brother, myself, my two parents watching All in the Family.
To
And the
clarify,
whole
All in
pre
the Family is All in the Family has what's his name?
Archie Bunker.
Archie. See, okay. All
Yeah.
right.
Archie Bunker, he's a white bigot living in Brooklyn, and the whole show is him being a bigot and everybody else in the room basically mocking him in a way. I mean, the
Like
whole
cringing at his ignorance, kind of
yeah,
thing.
cringing at his ignorance, right? And laughing at him and
Mm,
how absurdly bigoted he was and how it was it was a really groundbreaking show at the time to expose a bigot to a national audience like this. And part of that national audience was me. And one spinoff of that was the Jeffersons, because the Jeffersons, George Jefferson was a neighbor of Archie Bunker, and he started there. And then they had their own show, the Jeffersons. It was a funny show,
what? I
good
didn't know.
character
So that's where it
development.
came from. That's where Jefferson came from. He was a side character on All in the Family, and then he got his
Yeah,
own show. The
yeah.
Jeffersons was dope.
Okay, so
Jeffersons was
you do
good.
you watch the Jeffersons?
Hell yeah, we
Okay,
watched Jeffersons. That shit was hilarious.
yeah.
Back
So,
when,
but imagine how influential that is when you're growing up to see
yeah,
talk about the media and the impact of media, and how if today I am, and we'll clarify this, but if we say for a second that I'm not a racist, well, and I would say that what I would say about that, just to clarify, is that I am aware that from time to time I do have racist thoughts,
hmm,
and but I try to catch them and figure out where they came from,
exactly.
and and then recognize them and move on, and always try to do better.
We have to.
So
It's just an everyday process to not be a piece of shit, and that's life. You know, people, anybody that pretends like it's not a struggle to not be a horrendous asshole, it is a lie, in my opinion. You know, so I agree. Yeah,
all right. Well,
yeah,
I don't know if I agree with that assessment, but
yeah, man. No,
but
I think about it though, right? So I think it's there's a saying out here in the South, as you know, it's keep an honest man honest, right? You know, and I think it's harder work than people like to admit to do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, for example, you don't leave, even if you have family and you love your family, you don't leave $1,000 cash out around in the house. Even, you know what I'm saying? It's just something you shouldn't do because, you know, in my opinion, I think you're the asshole. You know what I'm saying? If I'm in the house with you, if I'm spending the night and you leave $10,000 on your dresser and it's like, hey, don't touch that. Be like, why are you going to even put me in that situation, bro? Like, you know what I'm saying? You know, I'm kind of shady. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to change my life over here, bro. You go just do, you know what I'm saying? So that's kind of, that's kind of what I'm getting
yeah,
at with, most people, there's a, you got to work to not be a piece of shit sometimes. I think, there's certain situations where you just got to, like you're saying, you may think have some prejudged thing about somebody because of their race or because of even their sex, right? Or even because of where they came from, their accent. There's always something that kind of make you be like, of course, like, look at this Asian guy behind the wheel, like something to make you, be an asshole, right? And you gotta stop yourself and be like, hold on, dude, kind of a dick for that, so that's
yeah.
what I mean by when I
Well,
say,
I think I told you this one time before, but I'll bring it up again because I think it is helpful to the conversation.
yeah.
I was at a club. This was last year. I was at this dance club.
Mm.
This is before the pandemic shut everything
Okay, I know the
down.
story. I
I used
love
to go
this
to
story.
this club every I think it was Friday nights. Friday nights we go to this
Mm.
club, and okay, I'm in a different age bracket than you are, and this club I
Oh,
went in
really?
there at 7:30 p.m. First time I was there at this club.
Yeah.
It was called The Proof. The Proof is what it was called,
You hold it
in
down in
Denver.
the proof. All right, I see you.
Holding down The Proof, yeah. And so I go in The Proof at 7:30 p.m. Dance floor is full.
Yeah.
Dance floor is full.
Okay. Got you got the
Everybody's old.
baddies out there. You looking at the baddies. You try to check you one. I get you. Okay, I'm following.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
even know what that means, but yes.
Okay. I know. I'm with you. I'm with you.
So
I'm riding. Yeah.
no, the music, they're playing a lot of music
Yeah,
from
yeah,
the
the bitch is
70s,
dropping it low.
80s.
I get you, man. You ain't, yeah, look, you got to cop no please. I hear you over here. They was killing
Well,
it.
what happened? at the Proof, they would have that
Mhm.
early crowd with a bunch of those old white people, and then around 10 p.m., they'd start bringing in some, other that's when the sort of the black crowd would show up, and they start playing hip hop
Oh, oh,
later in the evening.
they lift the dress code is what you're saying?
I don't know, but it just kind of the way it was working out. They had the old white people in the earlier folks, and then later on they would they start playing the Bruno Mars kind of as the transition,
For the
and
light
then they do
skins, I
more of the
get you.
hip hop. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah, I get you.
anyway, anyway, so I'm out there on the dance floor because, as you know, I'm quite the dancer, right?
Yeah, I love
So
that about you though. By the way, just real quick, I just want to say, anybody out there, don't listen to what nobody say. I think the dopest shit in the world is anybody like put themselves out there and just don't care about what other people think. Because the wackest shit is for people who don't dance to judge people who do dance. I think that's the lamest shit because it's like you too pussy to put yourself out there and be judged by other people, but you have no problem with judging somebody. I don't know. I just love that you can get out there and look completely ridiculous and not give a fuck. I'm not saying you do. You do
I
look
know, I was like,
ridiculous.
"Time out, man." No, when I get out there, I look pretty good.
Yeah, you cut it up. Yeah, yeah. No, you do,
Yeah,
you do, and I love it
I
though. I
cut it
love
up,
that you
yeah.
cut up, man. Like, because I think that's how people should be. Just fuck what anybody thinks, and I just love that energy. So just wanted to throw that out there.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
So, just quick aside, one night I was out there dancing at this club, and
Yeah.
this girl started dancing with me, or she kinda eyeballed me or whatever, started dancing with
Mm.
me, and I was noticing her dancing style. She's, like, right across from me, we're dancing, they're playing "Play That Funky Music, White Boy," or whatever they're playing.
Yeah. Hey, you were lit,
Yeah.
huh?
Yeah, man. By now, it had gotten later, it's like 8:30 PM now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway.
Later. This is the greatest story of my life. Keep going. I'm sorry.
No, so I'm looking across this girl and I'm thinking, I'm watching her dance and I'm like, wait a minute. She dances like I dance.
What do you
We
mean?
were like, we had the same moves. I swear, I'm dancing with her and we got the same moves, and it was starting to freak me out a little bit. She was she was good. She was good. Don't let me
Yeah.
get, but it was
Yeah.
just a little weird. Anyway,
No,
that's
I
not the
love
story.
it. Okay, that's
No, the
hilarious.
story is,
You
so
found your
one
soulmate.
night I'm at the Proof and I'm dancing, and I accidentally bumped butts with this black chick.
Oh,
Okay.
damn. Okay.
Yeah, she was a little bit thick. She's not in obese category or anything like this.
Okay.
Just a little
Batty
bit
with the
thick.
fatty. I hear you. Okay.
So we accidentally bumped butts,
Mm.
and I turned around. Oh, hey, kept on going. We're dancing
Yeah.
out there. And then for some reason in my head, I was like kind of in the same spot, and I went out and I bumped her a second time. But this one was intentionally.
Yeah.
But it wasn't harsh. It wasn't whatever. It's just like, it's still in my mind. It's still kind of fun and stuff.
Yeah.
And then she didn't react to it. And then having fun, like, just I bumped her a third time. It's a little bit
Yeah.
harder, and she stopped dancing and she left the dance floor. She walked off. You know, and this
Yeah.
and this was, she put the cold ice right on me. She splashed cold water right on me, right? But and it so I had to think about this, like, what just happened to that? And I had to think that, what was it in my mind that made this okay?
Mm.
And because the truth was, it wasn't okay. And she
Mm.
let me know it wasn't okay by doing what she did, by walking off that dance floor with a little bit of an attitude. But she was right and I was wrong. And I had to think about
Damn.
that and think, like, why did I think it was okay for this behavior? Not that it was over the top egregious behavior, but there were plenty of white people in that place that I
Mm.
did not do this with.
Mm.
And I think for me, there's a little bit, I think white people to some degree, we have this urge to cross that chasm
Mm.
and engage with the other side of the black and white divide, but we don't know how to do it, and we get awkward about it, and we end up putting ourselves in these situations. But then I also had to think, like, was there something in my mind about, was there some white supremacy in my mind that made me think it was okay in the first place? That subconscious stuff. of course, I'm out
Yeah.
there dancing. I'm not thinking about any of this stuff.
Yeah,
I'm
for sure.
thinking about it later.
Mm.
And I have to conclude that that is part of that white supremacy that lives in our brains back in the background that influences these little split-second decisions. But once I recognized it and I thought about it, then I'm like, okay, I will not be doing that again. And I
Mm.
understand why she walked off. She was right to walk off. And I learned and grew from the experience, and hopefully didn't
Mm.
embarrass myself too much
Yeah.
by telling the story to this audience, or by showing my face up in that club the next week.
Yeah. You went back?
I went back, yeah.
True
I went
champion. That's what
back.
I'm talking about, Gary. Hell yeah, man. We ain't stopped here. Fucking right.
No, man, the beats. When the beats hit me, I got to get out there.
I love that. I love it. No, so first of all, hilarious story, by the way. I adore this story because to me, it's really endearing and hilarious because, I guess disclaimer, I am not a woman, so cannot pretend to know what that feels like. And, shocker, I know, right? But yeah, so I want to just acknowledge that I have no idea, how somebody might feel in that situation because nobody ever tries to dance with me or booty bumps me in the club, without my permission. So I don't,
Right.
so I don't, I don't know, what I mean? I don't know what that would feel like personally. Right. So, but in my mind, I think it is pretty, lightweight in comparison to, the shenanigans I've seen in the club, you know what I'm saying? So, like I've seen, that is the definition of light in my opinion, but I think it's hilarious and real adorable in general. And when I think about, cause you've told me this story before, right? You know what I'm saying? And, I think it was very fascinating to me. Like your reaction, that the idea that you would actually look back and actually try to figure out what you were doing, and really assess and look at it deeper because it could be surface level, like just kind of probably a little bit of sexism there, right? That we probably both don't quite understand because we're not women, and you know what I'm saying. There's probably some of that layered in there on top of like you're saying, white supremacy to a certain extent, and also I don't
Entitlement.
Exactly. Yeah. So, excuse me. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting. That I think what's most important is that you recognize like, damn, this is weird. And I need to pull myself up and try to figure out what I'm doing here. So
Yeah, I think it's important also because I don't want to stand here and say I'm not a racist.
yeah.
I want to stand here and say and acknowledge that it is entirely possible that from time to time I'll be in a certain situation and I will have racist thoughts or um, I'll give you another quick example.
Okay.
I traveled to Jordan.
Okay.
Jordan, the country of Jordan,
Oh, okay.
south of Syria, just right next to Israel, and I was there. And when I arrived at the airport, I was with my girlfriend at the time. We arrived at the
Mhm.
airport, and we were there really early, like 5 a.m. The sun wasn't even up, and we got picked up. We rented a car, but it was one of these situations where the rental car place was not at the airport. The rental car place was off site. So there were when we came out of the place where you exit the secured location,
Okay.
there was two guys standing there, and a guy had my name on it on a card.
Mm.
And my girlfriend noticed, oh, that's for us. And so these two guys standing there. They've got the Arab. They're dressed in the local garb,
Mhm.
and it was really early. I was disoriented. We see people walking around the airport in burqas. It's our first time ever being in a predominantly
Mm.
Muslim country,
Mm.
and they say, come with us with very few words of English. The one guy spoke English. Second guy did not speak English,
He's just
but
looking at you.
basically, come with us. They what?
Yeah. He'll say he's just looking at you.
Just
Second
yeah, just looking at
guy.
me. Yeah, yeah. So anyway, we follow him out there. We get in this guy's car, and he's got like 3 cell phones. He's got like one on the dash, one in his pocket, another one over here. And so he's driving the car, and I started to get nervous because the whole
Yeah.
situation feels weird. Just everything about it feels a little weird. And he gets on the phone, he starts talking in Arabic, and then the other phone's ringing, and he's
Mm.
looking at me, smiling, and we're almost there. And I'm getting real nervous. I'm like, he's getting on the cell phone talking in Arabic, and I'm thinking, I'm bringing the hostages, or I'm just making stuff up, making stuff up in
Yeah.
my mind. And then we pulled off. He pulled off road at one point, like off the highway onto some dirt or something. And I was like, and I reacted, I physically reacted like, oh my God, what's going on? And he was like, hey, take it easy, dude. It's just, we're just taking a short, because if you go this way, you can't turn around. It was just more of a logistical thing why I
Yeah.
took this shortcut through the dirt. And, 2 minutes
You over
later,
here
we were at the place.
hyperventilating.
Yeah, I was over there hyperventilating. My girlfriend, I talked to her about it later. She was like, no, I was fine. And she didn't
Yeah.
have any idea I was freaking out. But the whole
That's
point of it was
hilarious.
that I had brought into this situation all kinds of preconceived notions
Mm.
about Arab people and Middle Eastern people, and
Exactly.
terrorism and all this stuff. I was carrying this all with me inside my head. And he's talking on the phone thinking, okay, I'm bringing Gary, to get the rental car right now, make sure it's ready. And
Mhm.
I'm filling in the blanks with all kinds of,
We're going to
all kinds
behead
of,
them.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. So that's why it's
Sharpen
so,
up the axe. Yeah. That's yeah.
exactly. So
That's
that's why
hilarious.
it's so beneficial to be aware of your thoughts as
Exactly.
you're in these situations, and try to understand that, hey, probably
Yeah. But think about
your
the
head has been filled with lots of ideas that are not true.
exactly.
People are just people and whatever.
Right. And think of the difference, right? So while you're telling me this, I was imagining if I was there, I would have been like, so if I imagine me getting there and seeing these dudes with the signs, I'm like, all right, cool, they here for me, cool, dope. Once I would have got in there and got in the car and I see multiple phones, I'm like, oh, this nigga trapping. All right, bet, I get it. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna ask him where the weed at. You know what I'm saying? Like, cause you know what I'm saying? Cause I'm sure he know what you know what you know what I'm saying? He got the trap phone. You know what I'm saying? He hustling out the bando. I see what he doing here, right? That was my first mind. I've been like, this nigga, he okay. You know, with the pop, I get it. He know what you know what I'm saying? He probably got a whole, you know what I'm saying, like opium den
Got all the
somewhere.
connections.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? I would have had
Yeah,
assumptions, but on a
yeah.
whole nother level, I would have been like, yo, so where's, you know what I'm saying? Where the
Hook
Arab
me up.
bitches? Like, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, he must, this phone right here is for the drugs. This is for his women. I get it. I see where he at. And this is for the, the Uber, I guess. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
I think it's
yeah,
hilarious, though, because that would have been where my mind went. Especially anytime I see somebody with multiple phones, I'm like, I see what you're doing out here. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying? Yeah, you selling
Yeah,
drugs.
so you've been there.
Yeah.
Well, just so anyway, kind of bringing it back to the topic,
Yeah.
am I special to be able to have these conversations with you, which I think an awful lot of white people that think of themselves as very liberal and very eager to engage and not afraid to engage, they just they stumble and they get awkward about it, and they can't talk about racial issues because one thing, they're too afraid to say something wrong.
And on their terms, though, I think a big thing about it. Remember, we talked about code switching. The problem is white liberals want to discuss these things on their terms, and what I mean by that is in their environment and where they feel safe. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's very few white people who do what you willing to do and get out of their comfort zone, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, because when there's been multiple times where I can name multiple times where you have came to like visit me in my neighborhood, even right. There's just times where I I was shocked that you would engage with the homie my friends in the way you did, or like you just kind of embrace the culture, the way I dress, whatever it is. There's not a lot of like you don't try to make me change in this way or that way. I think the difference is a lot of liberal, a lot of the left, whether it be from the politics side or just anybody who white people, and this isn't even me saying usually this gets real partisan, but black, when it comes to white people on either side of the political spectrum, I think the problem is just, yeah, man, they try to, it's a lack of awareness. And actually, the more I think about it, when I just said that, I think the white people, I get along a lot better with racist white people than a lot of liberal white people, just because of there's a lot more of there's a lot more intersectionality on being honest, I guess you can say, just being, like there's a lot more cultural chasms that, there's we're a lot more similar culturally than you would think, right? You know, like, you know, poor, you know, especially because, you know, being, you know, usually a lot of times racist white people, or the outwardly racist are poor, like, you know, and I'm poor, and there's a lot of, you know, a lot more honesty. Like, I think a lot of, you know, deceitful, you know, corporate world is real deceitful, and, you know, and you gotta be here, and hey, how's it going, everybody? Oh, what's the weather like? No, that's the corporate white world. It's all fake on the outside, and on the inside it's all, you know, water cooler talking shit about each other. But, you know, for us poor people, we don't have time for that. We, you know what I'm saying, we let you know you full of shit in your face, and we can fight in front of everybody, right? You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a big, you know, I think that's a big key component people, you know, that I think white people don't necessarily like to look at. And especially when we talk about, is it, you know, are you privileged, or are we, you know, like I said, I think it's just about, you know, being on their terms, you know, like that's the more so, in my opinion, what the issue is. You know, if they would engage us on our terms, I think there would be a little more, there would be more understanding and genuine, you know, and genuine compassion coming from that side. And, you know, like I said, it's just, you know, black people, I don't, a lot of people I know don't have the ability to fairly interact with white people on their terms, on white people's terms, right? You know, and like you were saying with you know, the way I speak, with saying, you know what I'm saying, because they expect me to meet them on their terms, with, you know, the way I speak should be make them comfortable and make them, you know, I want to, you know, I want to hear this the way I want to hear it, and if it's not that, then I don't even want to engage with what you're saying or doing, you know. So that's kind of, I think that's the biggest issue, I think, is what it is, you know. And when you say, are you special? Like you said, yes and no, man. You know, like you shouldn't, you know, I don't think, I think you are special, but I don't think we should normalize that. Does that make sense? I don't think it should be like, it shouldn't be, you shouldn't be special. It shouldn't be. And
No, I
yeah.
shouldn't be special, but yeah, I just, I don't know. There's got to be thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of people that are like me, and maybe they just haven't met somebody like you to. In the context we met in a context that was separate from these conversations. Really, we were volunteering for a political effort, and that was our common bond. But that's what brought us together. But
Mm-hmm.
actually, the bond that we started came, I think, from a more personal place, maybe,
Mm.
because we've talked about our very first conversation and how you you were prepared for people to be fake, and you didn't find me to be fake or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And
So
you're
I'm,
like, oh,
yeah. So I just backing up real quick. I remember when we first met. I very much remember when we first met, because I met all the white people at the same time. All of you white people. You know, as far as, so we were fighting for HJR 146, and it just so happened that my Congress member, my Congressperson at the time, was on that committee hearing, and blah blah blah. I was, you know, it was a pretty important thing. And, you know, when I came in, at this time
and
I
you're
had
state rep. This was all state
exactly,
of Texas. You're state rep. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. Yeah. So at this time though, I had noticed that I had limited interaction with people in the political sphere, and I had started noticing how fake everybody was. Let's put it like that. So I started noticing by this time, and not just political sphere, but, you know, even corporate, because I started working, you know, things of that nature. So I started noticing how adulting, how fake it was, you know, and how fake everybody was adulting. You know what I mean? And it got, you know,
Mhm.
I'm big coming from the streets where, you know what I'm saying, like where, you know, if you fake, you know, separating the real from the fake is very important. You know what I mean, in the culture, right? You know what I'm saying? So noticing all the fake shit and how this was exalted was just really, like, you know, it was
Oh my
jarring
God.
for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know,
Oh yeah. It's
you're
it's
rewarded.
obscene. Yeah, it's
Exactly, you're rewarded
obscene
for being
how
fake.
fake they are. Yeah.
Exactly.
So
So when I
so
noticed you, so real quick, I'm gonna get you going. So when I noticed what you, we were in, I can't, I think it was the Capitol building. No, we were at the, do you remember the exact, there was some restaurant, not important. We were at some place, we came to sit down, and we're outside at some picnic tables, right? So I remember
yeah.
specifically, we sitting at these picnic tables. I remember I was there, and I remember listening to all these, you know, white people, you know, mind you, I know, like, in my head, this is what's, this is why I think everybody's so full of shit. I know in
The
my
beer
head,
garden.
the beer
Something beer
garden, that,
garden.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Something
So
beer garden. It's right next to the Texas Capitol. The place has been there for 100
exactly.
years or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
So
yeah.
I remember at this time, and I know in my head, I think I was at that time, I think I just served tables, right? So I know I'm a server. I understand how this works. I know nobody here, there may be, out of everybody here, maybe a couple people who are kind of important or something. We're all just regular ass people, right? You know what I'm saying? And when we sat down to talk, the way everybody was just real, like, like talking like that. It was just, I don't know. It just felt so damn fake. It was like, you could just see on people's faces like, you don't even know what you're doing, bro. Like, why are you pretending like, why are we just, like, everybody, like, it was barely anybody with elbows on a table. We're outside eating, you know what I mean? Like finger foods and shit. Barely anybody ordered food. Ain't no elbows on the table eating, discussing nothing. It was just so like, it's like, we're at a beer garden. Why are we pretending like we're in a corporate building, and we're getting paid to do this, bro? You know what I mean? Like, it just felt so fucking ridiculous to me. So I'm being goofy. I don't know if I'm cracking dumbass jokes that nobody are laughing at, but it's making it even funnier to me because nobody's laughing at my hilarious jokes,
Except one person.
Exactly.
Me.
Exactly. Bro, fucking, you were rolling. And I was like, yeah, that guy there, he gets it. Because it was so stupid. It was just,
the one that I remember is because you said something about, you were talking about working, how hard you were working. You're like, they had me working like a slave. And
no, I said,
you kept going on. And I said, wait a minute, can you say that? Can you say you were working like a slave? And it kind of broke a little tension. People were awkward and kind of, and then you were like, no, the Hebrew slave.
Yeah. I remember that.
So
it's good shit, right?
We had a table of like 10 stiff.
The white people were like, yeah, they were like, yeah, it's like, I've been working like a slave. I do remember that. Yeah. And you like, can you say that? I was like, Hebrew. See, it's okay if you speak on the Hebrew slaves. They're
which I don't even get.
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't even make sense. It doesn't have to make sense.
That's why it's funny, exactly, because it's dumb and it's just, like, and it was great. Like the icebreaker. That was just, like I said, that was what. Well, I was like, I like this cat because he's not.
Yeah.
You were willing to just just. I don't know. It was just, you weren't fake. I don't know. You were willing to just, say what was on your mind. You could tell you were like, wait, can you really say it? And I appreciate it. If you're uncomfortable, say, I don't know about this. Yeah. Like, and that's, you know what I mean? Like, that's what sincerity, you could just tell when people are sincere. Like, it was a lot of like, you could tell some people cared. Other people were, probably on the spectrum, and other people were trying to, further their political resume type shit. Like, there was just a lot of, it was just weird, man. It was a weird time. Yeah.
What I remember the most of the first interaction I had with you was on the phone. And I was like, so, what can you tell me about yourself? Can you just, give me a little idea? And you're like, one of the first things you said was, I'm 6'7". And you followed it up by saying, I don't know why. You said, I'm 6'7". I don't know why. And
yeah,
I know that you were look back and you were just being goofy.
Yeah.
But for me, it was such an odd thing to say that I was like, this guy's different. There's something special about this guy. That's not the normal.
Fucking whack is what I am.
6'7". I don't know why.
Yeah, right. I don't, like I told you, because like I by this time, I don't know. Politics is hard to sometimes take. It's hard to take people in politics serious because they're so full of shit. Like, I don't know how to explain. Like I told you, like I didn't be goofy because half the time, first of all, my mind is, you ain't finna whoop me, right? You know what I'm saying? What you gonna do, right? It's kind of like the superseding thought in my mind with most people. It's like, well, you ain't finna fight. So, so then beyond that, it's kind of like, I don't know. I just usually be goofy with white people because, it's hard to, I don't know. White people are weird. I don't know how to explain. Does that make sense? There's like this weird error of like, I have to be, I don't know. I try to break that. I try to like chip away at that fake wall that people put up. And if I notice a fake wall, I just start being goofy and kind of just try to interject like some abnormality. How do you say this word?
Abnormality.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Just try to make shit weird. I just try to throw you off. I like to throw people off. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
Because life is whack.
It's all worked out. And we've known each other now about almost
30 years.
30 years or something like that. So
right. It's hilarious.
One thing I wanted you to talk about is, you told me about a time in your life though when you hated white people.
Yeah. I mean, a time. I don't, right. might still be going right now. No, it's,
Ended.
yeah. No. But yeah, there's definitely a time I hated white people. I don't. Yeah, for sure. I mean, well, it comes and goes. More I think about it, I'm like, I think I hate white people like a week ago. You know, like dead ass though. I'm like, yeah, I couldn't stand them like a week ago. I was hot.
It was a time when you were actively walking around with anger. Every white person was the enemy, and I don't think you well, I don't know. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I don't think that you walk around today with that mindset. But
Mm-hmm.
there was a point in time, maybe it was after you got out of jail, some experience that you had. Maybe it was before you went into jail,
Mm.
your experiences back in your neighborhood, that you really thought white people were the enemy. We were the 5% or the 8, the
The 10%.
95%.
Yeah. So I was this is around. Yeah, this is pretty much right after around a time I got shot, right? You know, that area right before I went to jail, when I
Yeah.
got shot, right? So,
Yeah.
yeah,
You talked
man,
about that
e-
before. Yeah.
exactly. So, yeah, if you want to check that out, check out episode 4 of the podcast, right? But yeah, man, I met a guy, I ran into a guy named Pure. Shout out Pure. I don't know what he's doing now, but he was a 5%er, and I guess a quick synopsis of what 5%ers believe. And actually, this is kind of a gross oversimplification, so don't completely take it this way. So, long story short is what a 5%er is. They're kind of stemmed off of the Nation of Islam, that whole movement. Black people, especially, when black people, we came here, we were stripped of our culture, right? So then, there's, that's where the whole Moors and the Nation of Islam, all these groups are black people trying to hold an identity as Americans, as Black Americans, right? Because, like I said, we don't really have a cultural identity necessarily, right? But so one of the groups that's splintered off from all those attempts at unifying Black people in America was the 5%ers, which is kind of like the nations of gods and earths. What they believe is basically the black man is God, or a creator, right? And the white man is Satan or destroyer, right? And not necessarily I don't want to, and I don't want to straw man being goofy. I'll be like, they believe that white man's devil and black man's God, but it's a little deeper than that, right? I don't want to completely not give them their due. They're not like, they don't believe you should like kill white people or not. They just believe that white people have an evil spirit, right? And I, to be honest with you, when I was met this guy and talking to him, I had to conclude he was correct at the time. I was like, you know what? Saying makes a lot of sense, my brother. You know what I'm saying? And it was actually around the time I'd first, I had, like I said, I just got shot. Before I got shot, my mom had passed away, and I've gotten a lot more religious, and I'd really attempted to try and find my way. Right, I just got out of the street life. Then I had been shot, so then I was like, well, if God is real, He's a dick. You know what I'm saying? For this shit here, so I started really, kind of looking at different alternative things, and I found the Nation of the 5%ers, right? And for me, it was really, I don't know, they spoke a lot of truths. And like I said, growing up at this time, looking back now, knowing in this area I was living in, I lived off at this time I lived off Corporate and Bel Air, which is like Chinatown. Which quick aside, there was a guy who was arrested recently for storming the Capitol. His name's like Tram or Tam Hugh or something like that. 100% have been arrested by that guy in Houston on everything I love. 1,000%. He used to work in the corporate area, guaranteed. Somebody, you could fact check me. I know it's him. Whatever. There's a guy from Houston
that arrested you. You've been
Yeah, I've been arrested.
by that cop.
The cop who stormed the Capitol. The Asian guy. He policed corporate and Bel Air area. 100%. Same guy. 100,000%. That's the guy. Yeah, man. And yeah, he's a racist asshole, just like most of them are. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've been saying, like, yeah, I hated white people at the time. The more I think about it, I'm starting to like y'all right now. Think about all the goddamn bullshit, right?
Well, speaking of that, the one thing that you said to me when we were canvassing, we were just talking like we talk, and
Yeah.
you said there's nobody that's angrier than an old black man.
Yeah.
And you explained that that, you know, there's nobody angrier, because by the time if you're an old black man, you have endured racism your entire life, injustice, unfairness, and you are pissed. There's no coming back. You you're done. You're over it. You're not being nice to any white person,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
And
No, it's
then
true.
later on in that day, later on that day, I remember we had approached these two guys in a truck, in
Mm-hmm.
like a pickup truck,
Yeah.
and we were going to give them some flyers, ask them to vote for, you know, for the candidate we were supporting. And the behind the wheel was a younger guy, younger black guy, and in the passenger side was an old black guy.
Mm-hmm.
And you went over, hey, just 1 second, brother. We just want to give you this. We'll tell you to vote for, you know, da. And the black guy in the passenger seat was just like looking at me, like getting, like starting to yell stuff, getting belligerent. And
Yeah.
I'm just kind of standing to the side. I'm letting you do your thing.
Yeah.
And with the younger guy right there. But then when we walked away, you're like, you see what I'm saying? Old
Yeah.
black man, super angry. And I was like, damn, you nailed it. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, well, I feel it too. I feel it also. I think I was telling you about like it's like a horse. It's like breaking a horse, right? You know, this is where I liken it to, because I feel myself being broken every day. You know what I mean? Like, and what I mean by that is when I was younger, you know, it's kind of like, you know, when you're younger, you rebel, right? You rebel from the bullshit from society, and that's what, you know, we all do as a kid, right? And the older you get, the more you start to conform from the bullshit. Well, imagine if that society you're rebelling from is a society who does not want to see you succeed, who, you know, believes that you're inferior in every single, you know, way possible, right? And that's what, you know, us as black men have to deal with. So, you know, these are people fighting for their rights, fighting for their freedom, you know, fighting racism, you know, fighting to be employed, fighting for, you know, fighting for all these things. And not just from a lot of times it's not just from white people, it's also from their community too. But you know, it all has to deal with trying to fit into white society, right? So, you know, after a while they just get bitter, and it's like, man, fuck this white man. You know what I mean? Like, man, I know some of the, like I tell people all the time, when I say racist, you know, it's more so prejudice. Some of the most racist slash prejudiced people I've ever met in my life are like old black guys. And I get it. You know what I mean? I completely understand. You know what I mean? That's how I look at it. I'm like, nah, man, you know, if I went through what you went through, you know what I'm saying, being, you know, hosed down, you know, and you know, shit like that back in the, you know, 60s. And, you know, because these people are still around. People act like these guys are, everybody from that era is dead, you know what I'm saying, which is ridiculous. You're alive, you know what I'm saying? So there's a lot of people from, you know, that's been fighting for a long time that are still around, and they're just like, you know, have had it up to here, or all these bullshit ass crackers, you know what I'm saying? Like, and that's more so what I've, you know, and if you talk to them, that's what you notice. Like I said, like even like my dad, like there's a lot of these little isms and, you know, little sayings I've learned from my, you know, from my dad, right? You know, I told you, my dad told me, he was like, you know, he told me, I think I was around like 10, maybe 9. He was like, you're going to go to jail at least once in your life. Straight up. My mom was hot. My mom did not like that shit. She was like, I can't believe you telling my baby to, you know, my even got down to like, she called up her dad, you know, and was like, you know, and got him to come over and talk to me. Like, that's not true. I've never been to jail, which I learned later is a fucking lie. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? No, but, you know, true, yeah. Yeah, they just fill in my head with this propaganda, but I understand what my dad was trying to do. He was just trying to, you know, be honest with me about, it's not about like trying to, you know, break me in or nothing. He was just trying to tell me about what's really, you know, prepare me for what's really, you know, how this, like, yeah, this is real, bro. Yeah, man, you're gonna be in a situation you don't want to be in, son. You know what I'm saying? And I, you know, and after, you know, being in it, I deeply understand now. Like, it's funny, when I was younger, I had a lot more, not gonna say more love, but I had more understanding for my mom's situation. And, you know, when she would feel sad, and like, not like when my dad say some shit like that, I felt for her more. I was like, oh man, why my dad tell me that? You know, my mom's mad now. You know what I'm saying? I would feel that way. The older I get now, I'm just like, God damn, dad, I feel you, my G. Like, I didn't know. I wish I did. I wish I could, you know what I'm saying? God damn, you were right. You know what I'm saying? All that shit. You know, so many situations. Like, I used to listen to my dad say all the time, nobody listens to me. Nobody listens to me. Nobody want to listen to me. Nobody want to listen to me. But now I'm 30, bro. I'm like a broken record with him. I'm like, oh my God, nobody's listening to me. Nobody wants to listen to me. And I was like, oh, because I'm poor and I'm a poor black man. What the fuck? Why would they listen to me? Right? You know what I'm saying? Like, I have no proof that anything I say means anything. You know what I'm saying? Where's your money, nigga? Right? You know what I'm saying? That's usually, and people may not say that, but that's how people, that's their actions, right? That's how they treat you, you know? So, and realizing that, you know, like for me, it's just, it's one of those like, wow, damn. Yeah, fuck white people and everything they stand for. This whole capitalist bullshit, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, like this isn't even, I believe, like I told you, I believe that black people, I believe that we are the number one capitalist, and we have like we have bought hook, line, and sinker into the into this system, and that's why we're so fucked, right? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because we were bought to a system that wasn't designed for us, right? You know,
Yeah.
and
Well, look,
go
I
ahead.
want to ask you though, when you're walking the world today, like if you go to the gym, you go to the boxing gym,
Mhm.
are you and the owner's white, I assume, I think. And there's a mixture of people in there. I'm sure some of them are white, some of them are non-white, not white, black, Hispanic, whatever. When you when you're in that situation or you go to HEB or whatever and you see white people, I mean, you're not what do you
What am I thinking? What am I feeling?
yeah, yeah, what are you thinking? Or
It really all depends, man. Sometimes, like, I mean, most of the time, like at the gym, shout out Richard Lord, he in Austin. Go check out his boxing gym. It's the shit. He's great. But like somebody like him, I don't, because I think it's about I know, the environment there, and it's more of a peace of mind going there to, do specific things there, right? I don't really, the color of people doesn't really matter, right? If that makes sense. Now,
Mhm.
depending where that's different, where it's different is like if I'm riding around or walking around, like for example, me riding in my beat up ass, barely, moving, you know, Toyota Solara, which has been, discontinued, right? You know what I'm saying? Like fucking paint peeling off that bitch. Me riding around in that and seeing a guy next to me in a Tesla, a white boy in a Tesla who's, what I'm saying, like, I don't know, just sitting there, what I'm saying, in great shape, what I'm saying? Like, I do get a lot more bitter at some shit like that. And for me, it's a lot more about, it's just like, I start to think about all the white people I've encountered in my life who are a lot like, who I have no idea how he got what he got, but when I encounter white people, I notice a lot of time it's they ain't do shit. They just exist in the world, and you know what I'm saying. Because of the decisions, because of the way things were set up around them, not necessarily, and very tangentially, like a couple small decisions they've made in their life. Not really anything really they've done. Decisions that were made around them, the system set up around them. You know what I mean? Like the
Mhm.
opportunities
Yeah.
afforded around them. These things
Mhm.
now they're in this situation versus somebody like me where it's like, I have, I'm over here calculating, you know what I'm saying? Like, okay, man, don't pay this so I can afford this over here. And if I work hard enough here, maybe I get promoted here. Like really trying hard to, trying to figure a way up and out, you know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
doesn't mean shit. I get real goddamn bitter at, when I look at it. And like I said, it depends on the situation, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, or
Yeah.
even like at work, like I told you, like the idea, like I can't stand, I don't like to even talk about, work, like, um, girlfriend right now likes to talk about the job. And it's one of those things that trigger me immediately. I get so triggered by talking about work and, or especially her talking about work. And for me, it's just because, fuck slaving for these goddamn white people is how I look at it. Because it's like, I know that you're not, I don't get, she's not going to benefit anything, from at all doing any of this. Like she's getting a paycheck, but they're not even paying her what she's worth, right? There's just the whole system's fucked, you know what I'm saying? And she'll never be moved up, not only because she's black, but because she's a woman, you know what I'm saying? And
Mhm.
sexism is a goddamn lie if you believe it's not real, you know what I'm saying? So like there's just
Mhm.
all these, disparate factors that I think of, you know what I'm saying? And a lot of it is, you know what I'm saying, it is on some white people shit. Cause in the black community, that wouldn't necessarily a lot of the things that are issues in the white community aren't issues in the black community, in my opinion, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, we talk about sexism, it's more so, in my opinion,
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. A lot of things that are issues in the white community that among
are
whites are
there
not issues.
there's just
Like what?
it's different. Like sexism is a different thing. Like there's a lot more of a black culture is a lot more of a matriarchy. I believe we have a lot more respect for, or when I say respect for women, I mean like we're willing to put them in, positions higher, saying
Mhm.
than white people, right? You know what I'm saying? We're a lot more, saying like there's like those unbroken codes like of, like the like Big Mama house or whatever, saying like a lot of times there's a lot of, off limits areas and situations, even in the streets, right? Like, the norm is for, saying the women and children to, we call them civilians in gang life, right? They are not to be, to be messed with.
Mm.
When a civilian gets harmed, you know what I'm saying? Like that's a violation in the streets too, right? You know what I'm saying? That's not the norm. You know what I'm saying? The norm is,
Mhm.
like if like, and even if we look at school, you know what I'm saying? If you look at a black school shooting, usually it's just some kid shooting some other kid for some shit that kid did to this kid or some gang shit, right? When white people, they're like, I hate my house and I get bullied sometimes, so I'm gonna murder everybody around me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just this weird, like it's a different culture. It's different.
A different brand of anger and violence
Yeah, and it's
than in yeah.
it's like weird. White people have this weird, like it's like a weird, like almost I don't know how to explain. I don't want to say like, it's like a privileged notice me senpai type energy they have. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, things are not going right. What y'all do? Storm the Capitol. This weird shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's this real, like, you know what I mean? Like, nobody's, I'm being bullied at school, kill everybody. Like this weird, like, let's talk about over the top, right? You know what I'm saying? It's like, what the fuck y'all doing over there? Versus black people, it's like, this nigga's bullying me. I'm gonna shoot that nigga. You know what I'm saying? Like, him specifically is getting his work. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna get my homies to jump him, whatever it is. Like, I'm not finna, you know what I'm saying? I'm not, I'm not finna fuck up the entire, an entire school for this one kid. Like, it's just weird.
Yeah, that wouldn't make any sense for
you. It doesn't make no goddamn sense. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And in a lot of ways, I think, like I said, there's just these cultural differences that really, when they show themselves to me, like for me at least, I think what it is, and I say white, I think we kind of, I say in white culture, but really I think right now in America we have to kind of, look at and be honest about white culture is capitalist culture, if that makes sense. You can't really separate white, it's kind of synonymous, right? You know what I'm saying? That you can't really separate those things necessarily. Does that make sense? And I believe that since we're forced to, I don't think that's our natural state, or maybe even not humans' natural state in general, to be capitalist or this like kind of selfish,
Yeah.
I imagine for most of for human history, I imagine we didn't live in single household family, you know what I mean, situations. I doubt,
Yeah,
probably
a lot of things. Yeah.
Yeah, I just would imagine. I don't know for a fact, but I would imagine that's not how we as human beings, evolved. So that's probably, just little things like that where we have, everything's like, this is my family and my land and my this and my, this whole weird, I, mentality that Americans, mostly, like I said, white goods. This is predominantly white. This is that's white culture, right? You know what I'm saying? I think that's really more so the problem, and I don't think it's black people's natural state. I don't think that's our natural state is to be selfish, pieces of shit. I don't, I'm not saying for sure that's what white people's natural state is, but y'all damn sure want that, but not you for sure, but the culture, right, as a whole, the capitalist culture. And I think, black people, I think it's probably one of the worst things, what I'm saying, like, because it's so out of the natural, realm of us. Like, I think, it really super, negatively impacts the culture, what I'm saying, not just for black people, white people too, but super negatively impacts black people because we can't, we don't have the ability to have and to own anything, nothing. We don't own shit, but we're still running around here talking about this is mine. This, that's why instead of, like we rep the city, I rep my hood. I'm from the Southwest. It's my hood. That's my city, even though I don't have any ownership over that. But that's, that comes from that capitalist, that owner, even though we don't have the ability to actually own anything. So I'm just going to rep this hood. You know what I'm saying? It's mine. That's our way of, of intersecting that capitalist culture within the culture. Right. And I don't know. I know maybe I'm getting a little deep into the weeds and a little off here, but, I think there's some fertile ground in that area, so.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. Let me ask you about something that people have wanted. I think people that listen to this podcast or listen to the show, that they want to know, the white people that listen to it, they're going to want to know. It seems almost ridiculous to me, I think, because largely it misses what's really important.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that they want to know is, well, help me understand what I'm doing wrong and how to be better, because every time I think I'm doing the right thing, I get slapped down. The tone police comes and reprimands me for using the wrong word here. I said at black instead of African American. I said African American instead of black. I'm like caught here. I feel like, next thing you know, I'm going to be canceled for this, that, or the other thing. So I know it's not on you, but I mean, let's just go ahead and
let's get
to
it.
have a little
No, let's
conversation
get it.
about.
Let's get it. No, I like it because I think there's a I think people miss the forest for the trees, right? As far as so if you're
Agreed.
getting shit, if you're getting shit on Twitter, you got to remember that 90% of those people, not even 90%. I'm not gonna pretend to know how many people are real and fake. First of all, Twitter or the internet is not real. What I mean by it's not real is nobody has the same energy on the internet as they would in real life. Nobody. That's not how this world works. And what I mean by I can prove that to you by, for example, in school, I learned at a young age, real quick, that because I used to get bullied, right? You know, when I grew up real poor. My mom, I had 3 sisters. I grew up real poor, so I used to when I went to schools with dress code, I sometimes have to wear my sister's shirts with ruffles on the collar, right? You know what I'm saying? Because we didn't have any. This was the only shirt I could wear, right? You know, and I of course bullied ridiculously.
And that's why you're gay.
And that's why what?
That's why you're gay.
Right, hilarious. No, right, but I would get bullied.
The fluffy shirt, the pirate shirt from Seinfeld. No, that's
no, I get. Okay, I get what you're going. Yeah, no, it wasn't that fluffy. It was just like small, like girl collar shirt. I don't explain it. Whatever.
I'm making it.
Since in middle school. Joke. It's like no, for sure.
Wrong with being gay, but
hilarious joke though. I like it. But so this would happen. So this would happen, and what I learned real quick was how I would stop bullying. What I had an epiphany because I'd get bullied in class, and I'd be sitting there in class sad. And I remember one kid was bullying me one day, and then he went to the restroom, and I was like I was irate. I was just like, fuck this dude. You know what I'm saying? So I went to the restroom to follow him. I went after him in the restroom, was like, what's up? You know what I'm saying? Like, this is middle school. I remember like, fuck that. I'm so mad. I fought him in the restroom, right? You know what I'm saying? Well, I tried to. I wanted.
Are everybody's black here or black and white?
Yeah, we're all black. We're all black. This is a black school. It's middle school. It's Albert Thomas Middle School. I went to fight him in the restroom, and I noticed that his energy completely changed. Whoa, no. I was just joking. I was just this. And I was confused. I remember as in middle school, I was just like, so he was making fun of me in class. But now he doesn't. What is it? And I remember it's the crowd. You get what I'm saying? The crowd is why he's acting like this. You know what I'm saying? So from that point on, like when I was in school, like, I get bullied, when people just try to play me, because I'm not really so much of a, like, I don't, there's a lot of cap, I'm not really one for the, talking shit, like, back and forth, you know what I'm saying? I get kind of violent. I don't know. I want to fight you. If you start playing me, I want to fight. Right. So, because that's just how I, grew up or whatever. Right. So I would catch people by themselves. If you have energy for me talking shit, I would catch them. Not always in the restroom, in the hallway. I just wait till people by themselves and then address them because there's no crowd there. Then, you know what I'm saying? Their energy always, it's never failed. It always changes. It's never like, because, if you come at somebody, it's like, you making fun of me. What's up then? You want to fight? And there's people around, especially women. Dude's going to be like, yeah, let's fight then. What's up? But when they're by themselves, all that, they're like, I don't know if do I want to get my ass whooped by myself? Yeah, they start to think of these things. Do I really want to possibly get my ass whooped and nobody see? You know what I'm saying? Like, they just start to weigh those things and they'd rather not do it, is what I've noticed. And it's the same thing on the internet. It's the same exact premise, right? You know what I'm saying? So you can't have real conversations on the internet because there's a crowd. You get what I'm saying? There's a perceived crowd there.
Sure, of course. But what about out there in the real world? Because I think, again, we're not talking about Twitter or Facebook.
Yeah. I think that's all.
We partially are.
I think that's where
a lot of those conversations.
So I think that's really the only places where it really happens. I don't think it really happens so much in the real world as much. Like, I don't think, as much. I think when white people are being sincere, black people can tell and we let bullshit slide, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, people are going to be insensitive of cultures, but like, black people, we ain't dumb. You know what I'm saying? Like, black people know when a white person is just, they don't quite understand. They're just being white. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it's a little cringy. Like, there's a difference between like white people trying to relate and being a little cringy. It's like, you know what I'm saying? That's different than, you know what I mean? That's different than white people trying, saying appropriating and just doing certain things, right? You know what I'm saying? And when I mean appropriating, it's like, taking the most hood of our culture, using that, and then, not actually giving these hood niggas an opportunity in any aspect of society, right? I think those are more so what people have to worry about. If you're worried about, like, to white people, for sure, hear me out, and you have to believe deep in your heart, you know what I'm saying? And when I say this, fuck any of these niggas that's talking about, African-American, black this, like, fuck all that type of shit. What matters is what you're really doing out here, right? Your actions. Fuck all this, bro. None of this matters. I promise you, real people, not just black people, real people don't care about any of this shit. The internet's not real. I promise you, you know what I'm saying? None of that shit's real. What really matters is what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? What are you, saying? Are we posting? If you're posting Black Lives Matter, and you're blacking out your profile pic or whatever, and whatever the fuck trend it is to support black people, you know what I'm saying? If you're doing that, and then also, you know what I'm saying, and also wanting to speak, you know, if you're speaking on black, you don't ever try to actually, you know, you have like, for example, like a news site or progressive news site or whatever the fuck, you have some kind of platform, and you're not platforming, you know, black people, not black people who are, you know, who talk white and they wear glasses and they're, you know, not them black people. I'm talking about niggas. You're not platforming people who really got something to say, you know what I'm saying? Then that's where that disingenuous, that's where you get the, you know, people start nitpicking your bullshit, you know what I'm saying? Because they know you're full of shit, and then start, you know, trying to find anything that's like, I don't like this dude. What is he doing? Look at him. Look at this. Look at that. Look at, you know what I mean? That's kind of where that comes from. If you notice, the people who don't, there's a lot of white people who don't get that same energy, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, and be saying just as fucked up shit, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, you notice like the black community don't go at Joe Rogan. That's only white people that be like, Joe Rogan's racist and this, you know. Black community's like, yeah, no, he good. You know what I mean? Like, we like, whatever. You see Chappelle, do you see Chappelle fucking around with, you know what I'm saying? Even though he'll roast on some black people shit in a heartbeat. He'll say some shit that, if said by certain other white people, would be racist, right? You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, it's less about, you know, it's about how sincere and, you know, how are you really interacting with black people? How far are you doing it from a safe spot, you know what I'm saying? Like looking in it, like I said, like a zoo, you know what I'm saying? And then you are full of you know, that people are gonna come for you because you're full of shit, right? I hope that makes sense. It's just more about, you know, saying your actions, how you're really, you know, interacting with black people. There's plenty of white people I know from the hood that say nigga, that be like nigga this, nigga that. But that's what they from the same place I'm from. That's genuinely, sincerely them, right? You know what I'm saying? So, you know, and you can feel that, right? So there's, you know, that's what it's really more about, right? You know, don't just concern yourself about, oh, should I say black? Should I say African American? Should I say this? Should I say no, man? It's more about, you know, I don't care. You can be like, hey, I want to give this nigger $1,000. All right, cool. You know what I'm saying? You call me what the fuck you want. Like, let's get this, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, if Congress was like, I'm tired, let's get these niggers reparation. You think any black person would be sad they called us nigger? Dead ass though. No, nigga, all right, bet. I'll be that all day, son. What are you trying to do? White people would be outraged. Black people would be like, call me what you want. Let's get this money, nigga. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, you get what I mean? Like, what matters? And that's really, I think that's, you know, I think also the white people that are concerned about, you know, what I'm worried about, what concerns me is I think white people are more worried about the virtue signaling parts. It's sincere anyway. They're more concerned about seeming like they're for black issues and not really being for them. So I kind of hesitate to give them advice anyway, because it's like, well, are you really, you know what I mean? What's this for, right? You know what I mean? Like, or do you just want to see? Do you just want to?
I don't know. What about, you know, people like me, I guess I would say, or people that went to my high school and then now they're out in the world. They're in their 50s. They were like me. They grew up in the 60s, 70s, and they're not, if they are, they might be like me, where they would have racist thoughts. Whether they catch them in time or not is, I have no idea. I try to catch mine if they come up. You know, I don't want to have them, but I want to acknowledge them if they're there. But you know, for them, I think they really do want to learn and do better and see what they could do. But they feel stuck in some ways. They don't know how to change things, and I don't know that you don't have any answers. I don't have any answers.
That's not true. Nah, fuck that. We got answers. No, there are answers. Fuck all that. All this none of this matters. All the talking and how we change things is by, you know, like we're talking about with how we change things is through collective action, like actually, you know, giving people, you know, these people power, or the people who are on the lowest rung of society. You know, you're only as strong. There are so many sayings that we all have agreed with in life that for whatever reason, when it, you know, now that we're older, like you're only as strong as your weakest link. There's nobody, that's like scientifically factual. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not just a metaphor. Literally, in a chain, the chain's only as strong as its weakest link in the chain, right? You know what I'm saying? So when we look at society, obviously, as a country, as a group, as a collective, like a link in the chain, you were only going to be as strong as the weakest link. If, you know, saying half the goddamn country, you know what I'm saying, or even what is it, we're 13% or whatever. If there's a link in this chain that's, you know, incredibly weak, of course the entire bedrock's gonna be. It's just, I don't know. It's so obvious to me that it's just like, no, the answer is just, you know what I'm saying, is radical, like, you know. What it really is, you know, people have to be willing to be uncomfortable for a second. You know what I mean? Like white people have to be, you know, you only grow, only time you grow is from making mistakes. You don't grow from, you know what I'm saying, like doing the same shit and the same safe shit. That's not how that's not how you learn something new. That's not how, you know, it only comes from experimentation. And you gotta say some shit that might be disrespectful and get pulled and get checked for that shit. It's all good. Let's keep moving. You know what I'm saying? Like that's what I mean by, it's like white people so pussy sometimes. I play like, but dead ass though. Like, it's just like, quit being a bitch about it. You know what I'm saying? It's all good. You might say some shit that's disrespectful, but it's all good. You know, my bad. That wasn't right, but let's keep moving. But genuinely though, I'm trying to figure out, you know, where, you know, I want to, you know, saying like, you know, like there's so many white people that love the culture, and like, you know, like you can just tell white people that sincerely, when they sincerely care, like if you notice, there's certain transgressions that
it's kind, yeah, but there's something in them that wants to cross that divide, but
they want to do it
feel awkward
safely.
about
They
it.
want to do it. I keep telling you, it's about safety, right? You know what I'm saying? Like they don't want to code switch necessarily. They want to be able to view it. Like I said, it's like a zoo. They want to view it from the outside looking in from a safe distance. And all I'm saying is, we're not animals. Fuck that. Come on in here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you might say some shit that's disrespectful for a second. It's cool. Pull up and we can keep moving. Black people, only reason black people truly cancel people, like, is if you're on some utter bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know,
Yeah.
if you're obviously on some bullshit, then we're gonna cancel you. But other than that, you might get roasted for a second. But we don't, you know, we not the, you know.
So you've been in conversations and you've recognized when somebody you're talking to just doesn't get it.
Yeah, you
And
could.
then
It's about
and then
sincerity.
do you try to be like, hold on, bro, let me, you know, let me help you here. Let me help you out here. Do you
Yes
find
and
yourself
no.
in some of those conversations?
Yeah, it's not. It's sometimes pointless. White people. Well, white people. It's not. You know. Nah. Sometimes
I was
it's.
going to ask you one time.
Yeah.
Remember one time I asked you, I said, I'd love to hear your thoughts on how do you talk to stupid people? Like when
Yeah.
you're talking to somebody and you know that, you know, you're a smart person,
Yeah.
you've got smart things to say, but some people you're going to talk to in this world are kind of dumb. They just don't have, you know, where they came from, their schooling,
It blows
whatever.
my mind. What scares me, I don't mean to cut you off, but what scares me is I know a guy, and I don't want to put him on too much on Front Street, so I can say his name, but I know a guy right now who's like incredibly smart, but for some reason is like backtracking on his intelligence. It's like he's going from you know, very, you know, scientific methodly minded to now, like, you know what I'm saying, you know, put my faith in God type stuff. And I'm just like, all right. I'm not trying to play you but where did what? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, where is this coming from? You know what I mean? And it's just
Yeah.
such a weird, it's just such a, you know, and why I say I think he's getting dumber to me, because it's like, you proofs in the pudding with the decisions you're making, kind of, whatever. I don't want to put him on, you know, but it's so dumb.
Yeah.
I don't know. This guy's weird.
We will have a future episode that breaks down, that talks about religion in the
Yeah.
Black community, that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah.
So,
Ugh. That's
well,
fertile ground there, man.
yeah, that's fertile ground. No, looking forward to that. Listen, we're getting up on time,
Hmm.
but it's been an enjoyable conversation as always. You want to wrap it up?
Always, man. Yeah, man. Everybody that came through, appreciate you, man. Make sure you check out the after party, which is going to be, like I said, you got, you know, make sure you become a member to check out the after party. It's going to be lit. It always is, you know. Get
MartyandTheBro.com
Yep.
is where you go to. There's a join the co-op page, and we ask you to join at whatever value feels right for you. We try to work on the model of value for value. We feel like we give you some value with this conversation, and hopefully you will reach into your pocket with some value and
Right.
support what we're doing, so we can keep doing it.
Exactly. And
And
if you can't do that, make sure you share this with friends, family, like it, man. You know, whatever platform you're on, whatever type of thing they have going with that. Make sure you click all the things that you can, you know what I'm saying, and not miss another one. And yeah, man, let's wrap this up. I don't know if you noticed, man, I figured out a lighting situation where it's not a fucking sauna in here anymore. when I'm recording.
Oh,
So I'm
what
really happy
you
about
figured out
that.
how a fan works?
Exactly, pretty much. So there's a fan actually above me, and it's the only room in the house where the fan is like it basically is gonna fall out the ceiling if I turn it on for whatever reason. And of course, this is the room where the fan is like. I mean, it's like the fan's like wobbling. I'm like, what is happening?
So what did you figure out to cool you down?
Another
Move the
fan,
lights back or something? A second fan.
a
Okay.
second fan, and this fan, I got one of those specific those fans that are like
You got a couple of women off camera, like with these fans.
exactly, yeah. It's one of those fans. It's one of those fans without
right
the.
outside the shot.
I went to Goodwill, found a fan without the. It's like the fanless fan. I don't know how the fuck you. How would you say that? Yeah.
Yeah, the bladeless fan or
Bladeless
something
fan.
like
Yeah,
that?
there you go. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got one of those, so it's quiet because it's just not.
Okay.
It's not whipping the air. Does that make sense? It's not
Okay.
like boop, 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 boop,
Yeah.
boop. So yeah, man.
Yeah.
I'm hype about that.
All right. Well, great. Well, good to see you, and we'll pick it up again next time. We're gonna talk a little bit more about our childhoods and how everybody's walking around just a little bit traumatized in some ways, and
100%.
how that how that really leads to some bad consequences when we are trying to navigate the world and carrying around a bunch of shit from from our childhoods. So, but we've all got it. We're going to talk about it, lay it out a little bit, and see where that can tie into racism too, because when you're walking around traumatized, you walk around with a lot of fear, and I think that's a lot of the root of racism is based in fear.
Oh yeah. All right, man. Appreciate it again. Take it easy, brother.
Okay. Much love.
Much love to you too, brother. Yo, you like what you just saw? Make sure you like, share, subscribe so the algorithms can algorithm or whatever sorcery they do. Follow us on our socials. Links all down in the description. And let's keep rocking.